So I went down the street to see what's on fire. And so I got to the intersection where things were burning, and what was on fire was tires. Men and boys in the intersection. No females were outside. Men and boys had lit tires on fire. And so I'm walking through the smoke and flames, seeing what is, and there's cops sitting there dressed in riot gear, calmly watching men and boys light tires on fire. And I thought maybe the reasoning is, we'll let them light tires on fire today, so tonight they don't burn, buildings and cars and whatever else. I don't know. And I'm looking at the men, and the men are standing around weeping. There's so many men crying loud, really, really letting go. Not like, they're like, ah! Tears going down their faces. And they see other men they would recognize as they would merge onto the intersection, and they would hug each other and hold on to each other and cry. It was really intense. And these people had lost Bhutto only several hours before. And I think they were mourning her death, and they're in a state of shock. I mean, she was probably going to win that election. Could have happened. And a lot of people thought she was the future of Pakistan. And all of a sudden, she is ripped away from these people in a heartbeat. It's over. And these guys are on the street letting it really hang out. The boys were more interested in the fire, but the adult men seemed to be really, really mourning. And no one seemed to really notice me. I'm kind of walking through the men. I notice I'm the only Auslander in the whole intersection, and I'll see what that gets me. And so I kind of find a corner. I just kind of watch this thing steadily unfold. And at one point, from this street coming towards the intersection, I see a large group of men, and a lot of them have metal pipes or bits of wood in their fists, and they're pumping their fists in the air, chanting something about Bhutto. Some might call this an angry mob. It was intense. And I realized this is probably the time for me to start walking away, so I have a city block of wiggle room if I need to start running for my life, that which I know how to do fairly well. But I couldn't leave. I said, I want to see what happens next. So the men arrive, and they get together with all the other men who are already standing around, and they all kind of form this loose mob of men who are not breaking anything. They're just chanting something about Bhutto. I couldn't understand it, but I heard the word Bhutto, and they start chanting and moving up the street towards a mosque that way. And so I figured the only way not to stand out would be to join in. And so I ran up the back of the mob, and I'm with them. And people look around, see this blinding white guy chanting something about Bhutto. I'm like, Bhutto! Bhutto! And I'm like, huh? I don't know, fuck it, let's struggle. I'm with them. And you know how we men are. We'll bond over anything. And after about a minute, they're like, welcome to the mob of men. I'm like, yeah. And we went up the street. And everything was going really fun and mob-like until we got to the mosque. And all of a sudden, these men went from this massive men to these perfectly organized shoulder-to-shoulder rows going across the street like a grid. Men are taking their shoes off. Men are putting their hands in front to make sure there's adequate distance. And I realized they're about to pray. I was hoping it was like a chorus line thing. But no. And so there I am stuck in this line like, oh no. Because A, I don't know how to pray. B, I'm not there to diss Islam. It's really not cool. And I'm certainly going to be standing out. If I'm the one guy standing in a sea of organized men, right, you might want to lower your buttocks just a little bit more. Okay, well, carry on. Or what if I get down on my knees with them? How am I doing? Is this what you all do? I mean, how fucking insulting would that be? And it's like, what do I do now? I get out of the line here. You two get together, and I try and get out of the way, but there's nowhere to stand because in front of the mosque is a sea of barbed wire. So you're either with the men or in the barbed wire. So I figured I'll step in the sea of barbed wire and take my chances. And I did not know how effective barbed wire is at barbing. It's good. And I walk into the sea of barbed wire. I'm like, I'm cool, right? Ow, fuck, it's got my nuts. I'm fuck. And I realize if I fall forward, I'm going to bleed out. And then, there'll be my exsanguinated body is completely bone white. And, it'll turn up in the Herald Tribune. Henry Rollins dies in Pakistan. I knew it. Those bastards, they killed Henry. How'd he die? The bastard bled out and no one noticed. They just heard they tried to save him, but he was already dead. He died of a dumbass. No coordination. It was so sad. And so finally the prayer came to an end. And I got out of the barbed wire, I rejoined the men who went chanting all the way back down to the intersection, and then they all kind of ran out of steam. Like, something, Bhutto, something. Okay, I know, it's very sad. I'll see you later. Text me later. Okay, bye. And everyone went home. I mean, those guys went back that way. The stores reopened. The tires stopped burning. Women re-emerged out onto the street. And as the sun started to set, I was one of the only people left. The cops left. Everyone left. I'm just kind of standing there like, are you kidding? That whole show just packed up and went home, and I'm still here. It was one of the most amazing instances of my life. I just stood in, and it was amazing. I'm not happy about the death, but just to be there for that was a very intense experience. So I'm standing there kind of on my own watching the sunset, knowing I got about 10 minutes before the mosquitoes appear. And a man sees me and he walks over and he says, where are you from? I said, I'm from America. He said, are you media? Are you embassy? I said, no, sir. I'm just a guy traveling through, and I'm so sorry about what happened to Benazir Bhutto. And he said, yes, it's very, very sad. When you get back to America, you must tell Mr. Bush not to be friends with Mr. Musharraf. Mr. Musharraf is a terrorist. He's a very bad man. And I said, so you want me to tell my guy that your guy is less than good? Yes. I said, you think I can just get on the phone and talk to the President of the United States? Yes. And I said, sir, for the last several years, I have tried everything to get through to the President. I have used Morse code, pom-poms, carrier pigeon, talking drum, FedEx. I have texted him. I have taken out my Cinderella stationery and my Cyndi Lauper pen and written endless missives. And the President doesn't listen to me. And he said, you must keep trying. And I said, you know what, that's about the most righteous thing I've heard in weeks. I will keep trying. And he said, yes. And I said, yes. And we shook hands and went, harumph, harumph. And we went our separate ways. And I went back to my room and I kept up my going outside and meeting people behavior until my time was up. And I was there for several more days. And I left the gate every day. And these men were like, not today. I kept going out. And I kept not getting blown up. And here I am. And I would talk to taxi drivers. I would go into stores. And it was very, very interesting. The food was good. But it was a very sad and turbulent time in Pakistan, because these people at the time, they didn't know the future. That's what I was asking them. I go, what do you think the future of Pakistan is? And they're just like, I don't know. And you see the worry on their face. And coming from America, I kind of always know what I'm in for, in that every 4 years there will be an election and somebody will be elected. But no, I've never been in my country where like the future is unclear. I mean, certainly there's a rough road ahead for America, but there's never been, I've never had like this assassination. It's not that it hasn't happened in America, but I wasn't kind of awake and alive enough to kind of be emotionally involved. And so it's such a turbulent place anyway, that the fact that that happened when I was there, to see these grown men in such dismay was very, very sad, because you shouldn't have your country and your life pulled out from under you like a rug like that. So eventually I left and I bounced out of Islamabad back to London Heathrow, back to America, where I was taken into a room. Why'd you go to Pakistan? Because I'm interested. Why are you interested? Why are you interested? I'm interested. We're watching you, weirdo. And last year I told you that I had been taken into a room and asked a lot of hard questions as I went, why I went to Syria. And now that my passport is kind of heavy with visas that say the Islamic Republic of, or the National Republic of, or whatever, I leave time at major airports now for spontaneous interviews.